Well, you can already tell by the title that this is going to be a really fun video. This is something that I was hoping I really wouldn't have to talk about anymore because it's just a really triggering topic for me. But apparently Twitter is a website where you can defend pedophilia as much as you want, but if you call it out for the vile that it is, you end up getting your account suspended. But I suppose you want the full story. I was at work yesterday and I was on my break when I got a lovely collection of messages from one certain character by the name of Brony. And you can already tell that there's something funny going on around here considering this account was made literally days ago this month, and their only activity on this website is replying to my tweets. Which tweets, you might ask? Oh, nothing serious. Just the ones where I put my foot down on the sick freaks on the internet trying to justify the existence of the movie Cuties and the fanbase surrounding it. You know, the one that blatantly threatens to normalize the sexualization of children that Netflix wholeheartedly supported, endorsed, and defended when it was being rightfully called out for the horrifying curse that it is. Now, this guy was trying to defend people defending the movie and the movie itself by saying that they're allowed to have a different opinion. A different opinion. On softcore child porn.
What?
Now, obviously, if someone were to come up to you and say that, you'd be well within the right to repeatedly hit them in the face with a brick until their teeth fell out and then ram a live grenade into their rectum. But because this is the internet, you can only send a reply to them. And that's exactly what I did. I rightfully told this guy that they can go fuck themselves, and people who think liking pedophilia is acceptable deserve nothing less than to get royally beaten. And upon telling them this, Twitter auto-detected my comment and determined that I broke their rules. If this was for any other reason, I would probably understand where the suspension was coming from. But this was a person who was trying to defend pedophilia. Was my comment harsh and violent sounding? Sure, but who wouldn't say that to a pedo enabler? There's actually been a couple of people in the time since I made my response to Black Critic Guy who have been saying that it's okay to like Cuties if you have non-pedophilic reasons for liking it. An argument that, I should mention, will never not be a bullshit excuse for this movie's existence or the people drawing enjoyment from it, one way or another. But apparently Twitter is too busy being anal over Republicans and right-wing people to care about the implications of what these people are doing. And I feel like this is something that I should elaborate on to get a clear picture of how I feel about Twitter and its problems. The thing is, I don't like Twitter. I really don't like Twitter. I mean, I did have my account, but objectively it's a very bad website that I honestly feel needs to be closed down. And it's not because it's politically biased in favor of Democrats and liberals, where people can't go 5 minutes without blaming Trump or the Republican Party for everything that's gone wrong in their lives, though it certainly doesn't help, but because it's grown into this melting pot of the absolute worst that humanity has to offer. And it's only gotten crazier since Tumblr shot itself in the foot and its user base fled over here to preserve their grotesque mentality. Seriously, there are so many toxic groups on this site, just so many groups. Racists, sexists, homophobes, transphobes, those dicks who tried to cancel Has-Been Hotel for stupid reasons, stalkers, victim blamers, social justice warriors, and that's not even scratching the surface. There are people who describe Twitter as the kind of website where you get taken down for having the wrong political stance, but if you like the kids, you're in the clear. And the fact that people like Mr. Girl are still allowed to freely roam around after the things they've said about Cuties, I would believe that. I know people like to hate on YouTube and the hate for it is understandable and deserved, but Twitter is just so much worse in comparison, like 100 times worse. Just the fact that people are allowed to say something like this and get away with it, but the people at Twitter are completely okay with suspending the President of the United States should be enough to spell out what their priorities are. They have an entire community of maps functioning on their website, and it's hardly ever, if not never, taken care of. If they're willing to suspend the president, then they shouldn't have a problem with suspending pedos and their enablers. I mean, yeah, Trump was a crazy and unhinged psycho, but so are the people who defend this movie and its fans. At this point, I really want to see the alternate timeline where a white man made this as opposed to a black woman, because I'm pretty sure it would be very interesting to witness. Recently, there was an incident where Twitter is Over party was trending because CP was being featured on the site, and people in charge of Twitter were taking no action against it. If you want the full details, you can follow the YouTube links in the description. But I think the fact this story is a thing should very deeply concern anybody currently using the website. It's actually really scary that there are people who are freely using Twitter as a safe haven to do this kind of stuff. And it's also scary that Twitter would allow the defense of a movie that blatantly promotes it. Is it really that hard to do something about pedos and their defenders? Are you seriously viewing them as a protected group? It's actually mind-boggling that this depravity is even possible. How do you even defend this? How do you allow accounts that defend pedophilia? Unless Hollywood isn't the only place with a pedophilia problem. And in spite of that, I admit that I had a fondness for the account that I was using. I mean, the shitposts were one thing, but it was also about the friends that I would chat with, staying updated on their living situation in case something happened to them, the tributes that I made to beloved actors and celebrities who tragically passed away, Stan Lee, Chadwick Boseman. I recently did a couple on Larry King and Christopher Plummer and Dustin Diamond. He played a character on Saved by the Bell. That stuff meant a great deal to me, and it's just gone. That tweet that I made commemorating the end of MLP and the effect that it had on the people who grew up with it, that tweet was very personal to me, and I had no plans to unpin it for anything. It's just gone now, because I was making a clear statement on the people defending softcore child porn. Are you gonna say it's because of the choice of words I used in this reply? This is not a sentiment that you should disagree with, because it's pedophilia. A movie about child sexualization is not to be defended. If expressing your hate for pedophilia is something that goes against your terms of service, that just says a lot about you. It doesn't matter how violent sounding this comment was, it was towards pedophilia. The one thing that everyone should agree with 100% certainty is inhuman and deserves every violent comment that comes its way. Pedophilia is something that should never be accepted in our society in any shape or form. And acting like it should be, even if it's in the form of movies like Cuties, it's just grotesque. I was actually contemplating whether or not I want to do a follow-up video on this topic, most notably in the event that the rumors that it could be nominated for an Oscar are true. But as soon as I finish reviewing the sequel trilogy, there's probably a chance that I'll do it anyway to get the message across to the shitheels who still don't understand the severity of what Netflix did by defending this movie. Oh, and I should also point this out to clarify for those who got the wrong idea. In the time since this happened, there are people who've been making the assumption that the reason for my suspension is because I was sending threats over The Last of Us Part 2 or the Star Wars sequel trilogy. Yeah, you can kindly fuck off if that's the conclusion that you came to. I mean, yeah, I hate the Star Wars sequel trilogy and The Last of Us Part 2, and rightfully so because they're both gross and disgusting pieces of shit, but they're not worth killing somebody over. And the fact there are some people who are actually using them to dismiss what I've been saying in regards to Cuties and Netflix is awful in its own right. Let me put it this way. If my account got suspended for something that I said about those other things, I would have stayed quiet and not said anything about it. But because the reason is that there are still people trying to defend Cuties despite that it's, you know, actually illegal and breaking multiple laws while promoting something that is profoundly evil beyond any excuse that these people can come up with, I think I'm allowed to be more than a little bit upset. I don't know who exactly this Neon Brony guy is, but you can tell that he's the type of person that either needs to get brutally beaten or given professional help or some combination of both. The kind of person who thinks they can take the idea that all opinions are valid and just apply it randomly like this. As if it's supposed to change the fact that people like Black Critic Guy and Sneeko and Movie Bob are pedo enablers after the foul, revolting actions they took regarding this film. Neon Brony is basically choosing to be a pedo enabler himself by coming to the defense of people trying to justify this film and anyone who may like it. And if you haven't figured it out yet, that is just a vile thing to do. Like, you are a vile sack of shit if you think that's okay. There is a reason why I named myself MisAnthro Pony when I started working on this channel, and it's because of people like this. On a side note, I do want to take a moment to thank the people who've continued their support for me in light of this event. Last year was definitely not easy, and it hasn't been any better in 2021. But I do appreciate the support that I've been given over the years. I did send an appeal in the hope that I can somehow get my original Twitter active again, and if not, well, it's never too late to make a fresh start. This'll have to be my temporary new Twitter for those who might want to follow me there, and if the worst happens, well, I'll just have to make it my new Twitter. I know I'm a little behind on my re-review of The Last Jedi, but I promise I'm working on that, and I'm hoping to get it done before next month. There were just some family issues going on during December and January that had to be attended to, but I should have more time to work on it now. Even though there's other things I want to work on to try and keep this channel active, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. And if there's a note that I can end on for anyone watching, I guess it would have to be this. Just please, for the love of God, please don't be a pedo enabler. Don't be like Neon Brony or anyone else defending Cuties and the Cuties fanbase. Because if you think it's okay to have a different opinion on pedophilia, you deserve to be hit in the face with a brick until your teeth fall out, and then have a life grenade rammed into your rectum. Good day.